What's good, friends? Welcome into Inside the Green Room
Sure,
with
sure.
Danny Green. I am Harrison Sanford. So much to get to as the NBA season is creeping even closer. Media Day, LeBron and Bronny James speaking to the media at the same time in the same jersey. Joel Embiid making a change in his physique in order to possibly win a championship or at least be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And Ben Simmons thinks he deserves our attention and our respect on the basketball court. So much to get to. And yes, we are going to give our flowers to Derrick Rose and to Kembe Mutombo. That is all coming up later on in the show. But first and foremost, if you are subscribed to us and listening on your podcast app, preferably the Odyssey app, this is a reminder that you can watch us on YouTube. And if you watch us on YouTube right now, you'll see that Danny looks a little bit different. The what would we call it, Danny? The fro, the
Yeah, I guess
big
it's the
head of hair
small.
is no longer there no more.
Yeah, well, it started out as a fro hawk first, and then it became just a wild that has fro, just a curly fro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say this, Danny. As you've now chopped it off and let it go, I hope
Mhm.
I hope that you appreciate. There's a lot of people who are still envious that you could still have what you had going on. A lot of people
Yeah.
wouldn't have the boldness to let go.
Well, I'm hopeful that it stays. I was a little reluctant, but it was becoming. I wouldn't say too much maintenance. It was just every time, trying to put a hat on, trying to put a hoodie on, trying to wash, dry it. There's less maintenance this way. There's a reason why I still kept some, because I didn't want to cut it all the way back to young Danny days, to a light Caesar or dark Caesar, because I wasn't sure if it would grow back strong. But at least I would have this. But it is less maintenance, and I'm hopeful that it'll continue to grow back. I wish I kept a little bit more. It was a little lower than I expected, but you know how it is when you curl up. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, it was time. It was time, and it had a good run.
All right, Danny. Well, it's not just because you were getting tired of the big ass head of hair that you had. You
Hmm.
wanted to also signify a change that is going on. So, with that being said, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it was time. Not just time for low maintenance, but time for a change. I said a lot of times you see people when they go through something bad or breakup or something like that, they either cut, dye, or change their hair, or something good. And I think this is more of a good purpose, a little bit both, but it's more so because of the profession that I'm trying to go into. My brand is being more clean cut, and I just wanted to start over fresh. Um, so the cut was not only to be less maintenance on me, or with having to wash it and take care of it, but also to give it a different look when I fully transition into the media world. So with that being said, planning on to fully transition, I wanted to have a clean look while I'm on TV. If I'm so honored or able to be with any networks or be on TV, and they allow me or want me to, speak on the game, stay around the game, that'll be a blessing. Fortunate enough to have some options. But with that being said, I'm officially moving on from the game of basketball in the NBA. Um, it's been a great run. To me, I'm very proud to be able to walk away from the game. I'm at peace with it. I wasn't at first, but I think it was one of those things. Once I turned 37, the body started reacting a little differently, and the mind was also, you know, I'm gonna say tired or exhausted, but just uh, stepping, is starting to lose its passion, lose its the same hunger that I had, when I was in it. When you're away from the game for a year, I hadn't played in a year, trying to play pickup games, trying to, you know, I guess show teams that I can move, show that I'm able to do this or do that. Um, felt like I was overextending myself, which you should when you love a game or you're trying to get a job. But to me, it was like, I don't think I have that much left to prove, in that space to where I need to kill my body. And, my body was letting me know I was getting little calf strains here and there. But also, when you get older, teams ain't calling as much. Unfortunately, my services were no longer sought after as they were once. when I was younger. So yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. I wrote up a letter. I said I wouldn't be who I am today without the people that along the way have helped me, and that starts from my family, my friends and family, my coaches from high school to college to the pros. I've done this speech previously, and when I was in Long Island, I was lucky enough to be inducted to the Hall of Fame there. I'm a product of my environment. And, even the interviews that I do, I speak of all these people, and people ask me, how'd you learn how to become a winner? How'd you become a leader? And it's the people before me, the people that have taught me, my coaches, they prepared me to be successful, because ultimately I'm just a normal kid. I had some height, but I was not freakishly athletic. I was not freakishly that. I just worked very hard, and I had the good resources around me to learn how to be professional, do things the right way. And I put in the effort. So yeah, I could step away from this game, very proudly with my head held high, and moving on to the next thing. And I'm excited for the next chapter, the next journey. But the game has changed so much. Um, I felt at times when I was working out with teams like I didn't even belong in locker rooms. That's how old I felt, and I'm not even that
To
old.
me, it's the music, bro. It's the music.
The music sometimes, but even then, it's like the league is so different now. Um, but it's a young man's game. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch and teach. Hopefully, I told Doc that I'd never coach. He said, "Now I know for sure you're going to coach." I still am strongly about that. I'm not a big fan of coaching, but I'll never say never. And I'm more open to the opportunity of. So I'm always one of those people that would do anything or try anything once.
Right, well,
Especially when it comes to something.
You start seeing those coaches' contract. Yeah, start thinking about
Yeah,
it.
it's not a bad. You get the right position, man. You can hire your people who you want in the right spots. You're able to put the guys you've seen struggle and grind and passionate about the game, in a position to also excel or succeed in that space as well. It's not a bad deal. So, but for me, I just we've been such a grind throughout these last 2 decades or so. Been playing since high school, about 20 years since high school, but 14 years in the league, 4 years of college. It's such a grind, and it's very stressful on the body, the mind, emotionally. I just don't want to put myself back. And I know coaching is less stressful than playing, but it's still very stressful. I don't know if I want to put myself back in that right away. I would probably need some time away before I got into that field. So yes, the cut is to transition, hopefully full time, be in media, be in a TV near you, talking about the game, talking about the sports world, and said hopefully not only just advising the average fan, but the youth, the younger generation, my kids. I get a chance to spend more time with my little one, and hopefully have more little ones, and my wife and family. But yeah, wasn't an easy decision, but it was time. I think there was a lot of signs letting me know, outside of the fact that not that teams are not calling me, but my body, the mind, and I'm a person that likes routine, and I need something more stable, something that I know what my routine is or what my work schedule's like. So I was waiting around this past year to see what happened. I don't think I could do that again.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I want to go through the journey of making this decision. I think one of the more pivotal moments, and I think it really spoke to your career and the perseverance that you showed. So let's talk about it. You got the game in Philadelphia. Joel Embiid falls on you, and you get the ACL tear and the MCL tear, right?
LCL,
And so
ACL, LCL, yeah.
The ACL,
a little bit of hamstring, a little bit of ITB, tore a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I hated Joel Embiid for a while for that one. Not necessarily his fault, but damn. With that being said, I think there was a sentiment, Danny. There was a sentiment that, okay, Danny's career is over at this point. He had a great career. He did his thing, this, that, and the third. And I think one of the things that was symbolic of what your career actually was, being a second-round pick, getting dropped from the Spurs and getting picked back up from the Spurs and eventually becoming a starter and then a champion. I think the fact that you didn't take that injury as, okay, it's over, it's a wrap, I'm good, I've made my contract, I've gotten my accomplishments. You had a hunger to still get back in the league and it did not go like it did not go according to your plan for sure, right? Because you ended up in Memphis, you eventually got to Cleveland, and I know you really wanted to play. And it didn't go according to plan, but I think the fact that you didn't let that be the way that you went out, I think truly speaks to the perseverance that you really had throughout the entirety of your career. Can you take me back to that day? And maybe was there, I feel like there was probably a part of you that said, I can't go out like that, and I got to keep trying to see if I can not make sure that's the last time I'm on the court.
100%. It was an emotional time for me because I wasn't sure how long it would take, where I would, where it would be, or where I would land after recovering from that. Not just on a team, but for me, like where my leg would be. I don't know if I would be able to jump, move, or run the same. After getting the news, it was really emotional. But after talking to other people, spirits were a lot higher. They're like, you know what? It's really based on you and how you rehab, how you attack it. You can get back sooner than, people say a year and a half. I've seen people get back in, ACL 6 months. I had a double ligament surgery tear, so it'll take longer. But they said people got back in 6 to 8 months, and I'm like, you know what? I'm making a goal to try to get back as soon as possible, and I'm not going to let this be the end of me. And it still isn't the end of me. So I wanted to, the only thing I had left to prove was to myself that I could play the game, and I think I've done that, and I've shown, and I know that I can still give to a team if given the opportunity. I know I could still play the game. I played with guys. Obviously, it's crazy to say Philly's the last jersey that I put on. I retired a Sixer. But even that beginning of that year, I had a really good training camp. I knew I could play. Throughout the year, I was working out. Throughout the summer, playing with guys, and they're like, yo, you can still hoop. I've done some stuff, with workouts with the Clippers and Golden State, and I've shown that I could still hoop. So it's not about that. So I've already, settled that debt with myself, I guess, that I can play. But yes, that time of going through that, it was emotional, but learning that I could get back sooner and getting back in 8 months, which I could have got back probably 7.5 months, but getting back 8 months, I think does show like the true testament of my career, just never giving up or never quitting and showing and having something to prove and just taking on every challenge that comes my way. And I think that's the next chapter for me as well. Whatever it is that I do, I want to be the best at it. I want to, be great at it. I want to continually learn. How do I do this? How do I do that? Continually set goals. So yeah, it was a goal of mine to get back. I did that. It was a goal of mine to not let that be the last of me. I did that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get more from after. But to me, it's that I proved to myself that I know I can play this game on any level still. It's just about opportunity, certain things, obviously money with experience and politics and taxes, all those things come into play when it comes to trying to be on a roster spot, and just patience. I have a lot of patience, but a lot of people, just wait till this happens. And I just think the patience ran out because, I don't have anything left to prove to myself anymore. I think that's where the mind went. And it was like, you know what, I'm comfortable and at peace with stepping away at this moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you and I last year, you and I talked about being patient, waiting for the opportunity. We talked about all the complications with teams even trying to sign you because even at a veteran's minimum, $3.2 million, you're not going to cost just $3.2 million. You're going to cost a lot more for these teams because they're over the tax. So it becomes a numbers game. This new CBA it gets a little dicey. But I think, and obviously you and I have known each other for pretty much 2 decades now, right? And so when I go home, my parents will say, "How's Danny? How's Danny doing?" Right?
Over 20 years now, over 20 years. Happy birthday, moms! By the way, she's had a birthday, right? Happy birthday to moms.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And the one thing that my dad and my mom would say, and you and I have talked about this, it's this last year. Definitely frustrating from a basketball competition standpoint, but you will never, ever, 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 ever get the opportunity to spend a year with your firstborn. And that right there is a blessing in itself. And honestly, because you built up such a successful career to not just be with your newborn, but also be able to tend and care for him in ways that truly make it rewarding, all the sacrifices you put out there on the court.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. The year happened really fast, but I couldn't have. People don't plan for kids. They say you're never really ready. I think I was ready, and we planned for it. Lucky enough, most people don't. And fortunate enough to put him. I pretty much would say base my whole life around it. But a lot of people do. When you want kids, you base your whole life of setting yourself up and them up to be great and them to be better than
Mm,
you. And I think I've truly done that. Like I've done enough to where I was ready. We were planning, hopefully working on more. I want more than one. So hopefully we're blessed to have more than one. But yeah, uh, had him the way I wanted to. I mean, I would love to be. It's tough because you love to be a young dad and still grow up and play with him, but it's hard to be, fully financially stable as a young dad. Most people just
hmm
figure it out. Um, so I'm glad I had him when I had him. I was, it's just thinking about me trying to have him when I was 20 something in the middle of the career, like how much time and energy it takes. I'm glad I did at this moment. I just wish that I could be a younger me to where I can play with him when he's older. But I'm glad I said the career is done. It's at the end of the career. I can spend more time with him and not miss those moments that I see my dad and my uncle have younger children, and they got a chance to do it over. And they were like, "Yo, I didn't have these moments when the kids were younger, whether they were working or doing this or in the street. Now they're more comfortable in stable situations." I'm lucky to say with the first one that I'm not missing these moments, and he's not feeling. I'm not saying I feel this way, but as the older sibling, the
hmm
babies get spoiled. Your parents are millionaires now, and they get everything. It's like, we didn't grow up in the same house. We didn't grow up with the same rules of, and you're a little bit envious of them. And I think that all my kids will be treated, feel the same. It's not like,
hmm
later in life, their younger sibling got the best of the best. They're getting it from the start too. So, um, yeah, man, it's truly a blessing to my wife. She's been amazing and supportive, an amazing mom. You know how they are with well, you don't know, but the first ones, everyone says they're very extreme, but wouldn't have it any other way. She's very safe, very careful, making sure he is alive and well every day, and he's living every day.
hmm
Keeping him alive is the biggest goal of every day in the first year.
Yeah.
So she's been amazing with that and supporting me at the same time, the same breath. So yeah, man, I'm really much looking forward to his journey, as well as hopefully so we have more of the others and being a part of it, and also being somebody they can be proud of and look up to at the same breath. Or whatever it is said that I'm not playing basketball, they can see me working every day and trying to set goals for myself and being the best at whatever that is.
Yeah, for sure. I think you could definitely set a. Yeah, obviously, you've already set a good example, but what you do in this broadcast career could definitely, in your further other parts of your career, which we'll get to later on in the show, will definitely set a good example. I want to backtrack a bit. So there had to have been a moment of frustration. Like, okay, so Danny, you and I both work in entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so entertainment, it looks so fun when you are successful, when you
Yeah.
actually get that job that you auditioned for, that you sent your tape to, that you interviewed for. But in the entertainment world, it could be super frustrating. The in between time, it could really make you doubt yourself. And it could really
Mm-hmm.
make you doubt, your aspirations to even be in the field. Because I think of, and this is obviously, I appreciate all my friends from all walks of life, but I think of my friends who are engineers, and I think of my friends who are doctors, and I'm like, yo, you did your work, you went to school, you're qualified, you're in. In entertainment, it's not that you could have the qualifications, you could be talented, it doesn't mean you get a job. Like, that's just
Yeah.
the way the cookie crumbles.
You could be really good
People,
at something and not work out
if
for you.
if you don't know the right people, if the fortune is not just in your favor, that's just the way the cookie crumbles in entertainment. Can you tell me a moment where it hit, like, I can't deal with this BS no more? Like, like
Yeah.
this is getting out of pocket now.
Um, there's a couple moments. It's not just one, right?
Hmm
I think when reality sets in or hits right away for some guys, they take it heavy, and that's when the phone isn't ringing as much. And I think it was last summer. Obviously, I was in Cleveland the year before, and we were in the playoffs. I felt like I didn't get a fair shake there to show that I was healthy and able to hoop. Um, Playoffs, I played like 1.5 games, if that, and we lost. to the Knicks. We got beat up pretty badly, and I felt like I could have helped. And I think that was part of the reason. To me, we always people as human nature to not blame something, but look at something like this is the reason why. And it could just because I had a knee injury and I was older and I cost too much money. Not the fact
Mm-hmm.
that people didn't see me and didn't play, but I felt like if they saw me and I played more there, that I would have had more calls that summer. When the phone's not ringing, that's when it sets in and it gets a little frustrating. Um, that's when it started. And then I was with, Philly. So I got a chance, Daryl Morey did give me an opportunity to make the team and show that I was healthy. Signed me to a training camp deal. I showed that I was healthy, showed that I could hoop, made the team. Um, but I think there's two more frustrating parts after that. So, and I was like, yo, let me know before I fly my family here if I'm with the team or not. And I flew the family there, and then 3 days later or whatever, a couple days later, trade happens, and then they have to waive me because they brought in more guys and they got back.
The James
Um,
Harden trade.
the James Harden trade. That's when the frustration hit pretty heavy. I wouldn't say the peak of it, but close to it. It's like I just unpacked everything, moved my whole family here, just signed a 3-month lease. Now it's the middle of the night. Now I got to figure out what I'm doing. But luckily, had connections. Nick Nurse was great. Brought me in like, yeah, we're gonna find a way to bring you back. Had to sit down. That helped me stay encouraged and confident, like that I'll get another opportunity. So I worked out, sneaking into Philly. Shout out to Philly, not eliminating my fingerprint, allowed to get in the facility and work out in the facility during that time while I was, at home. Still watch my little one and be there and watch the games and do media. But then, when there was not the deadline, but there's certain deadlines where trades could happen. It was like in December, and then January, where the guys that they got in, they couldn't get traded until
Mm-hmm.
December
Mm-hmm.
15th or January 15th. And it was like, should I extend my lease or not? Should I stick around? And everybody's like, stick around. We're going to bring you back. I think it got even more frustrating when those deadlines hit. Trades were made and they had open space and still didn't bring me back.
Mm.
Um,
You felt like
that's
you
when
were
it was
on.
like,
You felt like you were getting felt like you were getting jerked around. Not in a malicious way, but
yeah,
it didn't, because that's just the business of
I wouldn't
basketball. But
say
it was
jerked
like,
around, but I just felt like there was opportunity to bring me in a couple times after. And I think they said, which could be true, is that the things that they got in the trade, it didn't make sense to bring me in. But it's like, look, man, just if it's a no, just tell me no, so I could just move on. You know what I'm saying? Just
mm-hmm.
stringing me along. I wouldn't say jerked around, but strung along to where
Yeah,
like there's opportunity. Misled a little bit. Um,
okay.
there was some other things. There was some misleading parts earlier there as well. But so they gave me opportunity, so I'm thankful for that. Nick always reaches out. He's always been great to me. I know he tried to get me back. I don't know what ultimate decision happened, but I didn't end up back with Philly. Um, so that's when frustration was close to the peak, probably at its peak, honestly, the highest it
Mm.
was. And then, of course, the summer, same thing. But they already hit last summer that if calls weren't coming in this year, I knew call, and the league's only getting younger. A lot of guys retiring. I'm seeing signs of everything. Seeing guys go overseas. Shout out to those guys, man. Pat Bev, Evan Fournier, inspirational. Because I even thought about that, considered that. Like, I just want to hoop. I can still hoop. I can play. But once the body started, I'm like, do I really want to put myself through that grind, going over there, practicing twice a day, some
Mm-hmm.
places? And the body's kind of breaking down. Do I want to put my family through that, bring them, fly them over there to do that? It was a consideration, but it was like, no, I don't know if I want to do all that, because I don't know if it's worth all that. Like, I want to play badly, but I don't know if I need to play badly that much to
You
put
don't need to
everybody
play
else through
that
that.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to them. But the frustration peak was probably then when there was opportunity to get back to Philly and it didn't happen. And then, of course, the summer, hooping, playing, showing people I'm hooping, working out with teams, and just, to me, it's like I'd rather just get the no than be like, you're on the list and stringing me along. But yeah, and then it made the decision easy, not being with the team for training camp. It's like, obviously could wait to be a leadership role, trades happen or injuries. It's like, I just don't have the patience for that anymore. But the frustration peak was probably when those deadlines hit and the last roster spot or the last date to have your full roster, your final roster before playoffs hit, and there was nobody calling. And it was like,
Yeah.
and I wasn't back with Philly, where a place. And I said the disappointment also this past summer where, then early in that year, I was like, the role I wanted was like, I'm not ready to just be a locker room, Udonis Haslam role right now. Like, I feel like I can
Mm-hmm.
still hoop. this summer was like, you know what, I'm more accepting to that role. Like I'll be a locker room guy, I'll be your vet. And you would, the other disappointing part, I wouldn't say peak frustration, just a little disappointing. The places that I called home, I wouldn't say not reaching out. They reached out in different ways, but I wouldn't say expected. I don't know the wording I'm trying to say, but you would think that the places that you've played in and won would find an opportunity or figure out a way to like give you a chance to at least show them like, oh, I can still play, or maybe we might find something for you. So yeah, they even passed on me and took other people. In those places, I said Toronto is a place where I would call home. I've won a championship there. LA, they got a lot of stuff going on in LA, so but not getting the phone calls from them and opportunities from them. San Antonio's full roster about their young guys, which understandable. Pop does reach out though. Love Pop. He does text. And I update him, little one, kids and everything. He's like he's still a family member, a grandpa, but on the business side of it. And then also said, we won't get into the agency thing, but yes, not having those opportunities come to the forefront of, what, we'll love to bring you as a locker room guy, Danny, because, you meant so much to this organization, or you've done this for the organization, but choosing other people to do so was a little disappointing. But the peak frustration part was the whole Philly thing.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that. Again, that's unfortunately that is the life in entertainment. It's very hard for people to tell other people no. It's very hard for because they actually might not feel that way. They actually might not feel like, no, we haven't ruled you out, but we can't rule you in. So we're just kind of let you know we want. But
they don't know.
Yeah.
But so to me, we talked about this. Why not just keep it a buck? You know what I'm saying? Like GM say, if we're looking to trade you, we're going to trade you. Or sometimes you don't know. It's like we're not sure, but at least put it in the back of players' minds. And the communication factor, guys respect this so much more. Look, we're looking to trade James. We're not keep you. So don't fly your family here yet. Or look, we like you, but we're not positive. We may bring in some shooters that we might not need you. Or we really we're looking for some cheaper guys. We have younger guys that we're looking at. It's better to just give the no, for me anyway, than the unknowing. Maybes are cool, but to me, it's like, a lot of us rather have the yes or no so we can move on, to the next phase of life or the next thing. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. No, I could definitely understand that. But the crazy thing is, Danny, well, not the crazy thing, but the thing is, your story is like many players who end up finishing their story in the league. The positive thing for you, is that along that journey to that end where it was like kind of tumultuous and caused some turmoil, you did a lot of great things to get to that point. Won an NCAA title, 3 NBA championships, had a standout performances in the playoffs, ups and downs in the playoffs, which again is a part of your story, which is what makes it a great story. You think about the defensive accolades. There's so many different things you can think about that really will make you sit back and think, wow, I really had a great career. I know you wrote a letter that you're going to post on social media, or you have something written out. As you were writing that letter, I know there were different moments where you saw the picture in your eye. You saw that look on Pop's face when you walked into practice. You saw Roy Williams, cursing you out because he wanted you to play better defense. You saw whatever coach it might be. Was there a moment, a picture in your mind? Can you picture that for our audience?
There wasn't one in particular. There was a lot of pictures, man. And
was there a picture that made you put down? Was there a picture that made you put down the pen for a second?
A lot of them. I didn't know where to start. It was like, damn, how do I even start this? Even when and I think I put it in a letter, like even when the day is coming soon, you never prepare for it or plan for it. And and said shout out to a lot of those people you point out, the vets, the guy. And it's unfortunate that not a lot of us get a chance to end the career on our note. And I'm okay with that. And I've accepted that because I've seen so many greats before me not be able to retire the way they want to retire. So, I'm lucky enough to get the many years I got in the game, and, I get out and I get to go out. So, the way I want to, but not in a basketball sense, So
Mm-hmm.
um, not everybody is able to do that. So for me, it was like, damn, where do I start? I'm thinking of college, high school, Pop, Timmy. I'm thinking of Bron, Cleveland. I'm thinking of my family, my son, my baby, my dad, my brothers. We're in the backyard is where it all started, really. You're trying to think of where to start and where to end. So all these pictures come across of, damn, these were intricate moments, and how do I encapsulate that in one letter and give everyone else the flowers they deserve for helping me become me? And I can't. So you have to kind of put out something, and it's better this way right here to do it on a pod and speak it than to write it in a letter. The letter is very much a short abbreviation of what I'd like to say or who I like to acknowledge on my platform like this one. But there's so many people. So from my high school coach, Coach Williams, Pop, teammates, so many different pictures, so many different moments. So many things that come across your mind. A lot of the good, some of the bad. It's like, damn, I always thought, I'll retire in this jersey. I always thought my last game would be this or look like that. But it's like, damn, I had some really great moments. I had this person helped me a lot. This person helped dictate my career or helped, boost my career, helped it progress. Even assistant coaches, even a lot of guys that didn't make it, guys that check on me today, text me today. You mentioned all these accolades. The biggest thing the thing that meant the most to me wasn't, the accomplishments that are put on paper, but the respect that I got from my peers that I played against. So the people that always showed me love, gave me my respect, whether it was social media or podcast platforms or texting or reaching out, and knew that I played this game and I got the most out of it, not just out of myself, but I got the best. I played with the best, and I beat the best. I've gotten the best of the best, and vice versa. It's happened both ways. But to get the respect from them that I've left an imprint on this game during my era was the most important thing to me. And the list goes on from the 09 guys. We had a great group of guys. Shout out to all of them. Some of them still playing. So James Harden, Patty Mills, you got Taj Gibson in there, Drew Holiday. We have a bunch of guys, the 09 group, a group of guys, a draft class that they didn't think would be strong. We had a really strong draft class, guys that lasted, 10 plus years. So, shout out to all those guys. DeMar DeRozan. We had a bunch of guys that were really good and still doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I go back to 2009. As a matter of fact, let's go there. So you win a national championship at North Carolina.
Yeah.
You show that you could play defense while you're at North Carolina. Your 3-point shot is getting there at North Carolina. I still wouldn't say it was wet yet, but it was getting there.
Exactly.
It was getting there. You get drafted in the second round. And there is no security in being a second round draft pick.
No.
If I would have told you your career would have ended up the way that it did on that night, what would you have said?
I would have thought you were lying to me. I would have thought you belonged in a crazy house. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have believed you. But yeah, I said I've been very fortunate, man. I've been very lucky. Said thinking about that draft class, that draft night, I think most people leave disappointed because they always think they can go higher. And in the second round, you just don't know if you're going to make it or stick. So yeah, if you would have told me that, I wouldn't have believed you. I would say that's a hell of a career, and that I would be very, very happy if that is my career when it's all said and done. So yeah, that's why I said I'm very proud to be able to walk away from it, knowing what I accomplished, things that I never dreamed that I could do, things that I thought I would never be able to see, or people that I ever meet. I met the president a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Like the real president, the good president. You know what I'm saying? Not the ones as of late. You know what I'm saying? So Obama. I've met some artists, actors, actresses, played with and against the best, some of the top greats. They get my respect. They shaking my hand, I've shaken their hand. They said hello. They know my name. Walk in rooms, people know who I am. That's unbelievable coming from North Babylon, New York. You know what I'm saying? Like a small town in Long Island, New York. So yeah, it's a good feeling to walk away on that sense and on that note, and not thinking about the negatives of, damn, I didn't get to have the last game that I wanted to. But
Oh yeah, man. Listen, it's all you can't have it all, but
no,
you'd happily trade if you
play,
knew the career. What you would
and I
definitely
got a
trade.
I got a chance to play with different eras, like the early era, like the some of the '90s guys were still around when I first got in, or late '90s guys, early 2000s. So I've seen the game change. I've been a part of all of them, and I feel like said, and I've played with a lot of Hall of Fame guys that are some of the greatest ever. Lace them up, and some guys that we'll never see again. And a lot of
Hmm.
those guys know him and respect me. I've got a chance to call them teammates, call them friends, family. So yeah, it's been a hell of a run, man. It's been a hell of a ride. And I said I'm not ashamed of anything or regret anything that I've done.
Yeah, no, I would definitely feel the same way if I were you. Yeah,
But
it
yes,
didn't end.
to your point, I meant to say
Yeah,
when you pointed out those things draft night, the reason why I wouldn't believed you because, like you said, I was noted as good at everything, but good at a lot of things, but not great at anything.
bro.
I
And
wasn't
full
even a
transfer.
great defender. I was a decent defender. He's a decent defender, like good rebounder, good shot blocker, good shooter. It wasn't great. I became a great shooter with those people that I mentioned, the Chad Forciers, the Will Hardys, being in the Spurs system and making me perfectionist at that craft, become a better defender watching film with those guys. So yeah, I was good at a lot of things, but not great at anything. I became even better shot blocker, being smarter defender. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't have believed you because I wasn't sure. And a lot of kids, a lot of guys, men come into the league with the potential to do that, just don't have the right pieces or resources around them to become that, to teach them how to be professionals. I
Hmm.
was lucky enough, guys that are better than me that should have had, probably could have or should have a better career than I. But I was lucky enough to be put in the right places at the right times and to win with more than one organization um, in college as well. But more important than winning, build those relationships and bonds that made me a great human being and a professional, learn, a great basketball player and understanding the game in that sense.
Yeah, I can still remember watching you at IS8. Still remember that game at Fordham Arena.
Man,
I
the eight
still,
was back in the day. The eight was a
yeah,
thing.
yeah, I can still remember those games. I remember watching those games in high school, being like, "Yeah, Danny's he's gonna be a good role player, but I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah,
He got good, to your credit, you made your role a star in its role. Like if
Mhm.
now we take a pie in the sky type of look at what you contributed to the game, you were one of the first of many to really now have this. You were the 3-and-D prototype, a player that didn't cost too much to the salary, right? You still got to get paid, but
Yeah,
you didn't have to pay this guy a max to hit 43s and have gravity and play high level defense and allow your stars to be stars because you can't cheat off of them. You were I'm struggling to think who else was like you. I know a lot of people have come since you for
we had.
sure.
I mean, you talk about the guys during that time that got the same amount of pay, or even higher pay, max pay, like that started that. Like you look at the Wesley Matthews, you look at the Damari Carrolls, you look at the Kent Bazemores. I think Alan Crabb was a time that had a what's the name?
I don't know
Uh,
shade to Alan Crabb, but I don't think he wouldn't have been on all defensive team.
No, but he was paid to be that. So these are the guys during that time, early on, my younger days, that were paid to be 3-and-D guys. So yes, we were the first. Obviously, the top role players that we watched, the Robert Ory's, the Derek Fishers. They did a multitude of things. Ultimately,
Hmm.
they did put 3-and-D, but the 3-pointer wasn't a big deal at that time, as it is now, or as it grew up into be. So when you think about the guys that started, the Klay Thompsons of the world. When it started,
Oh
they
yeah,
started
well
shooting some more.
Clay took it to the next
Houston,
level.
Houston Rockets, you had like guys like Trevor Reza, you know what I'm saying, like that, like
Hmm.
Eric Gordon's. They're guys that shot threes and played defense. That was on both sides of the ball. Even big men that did more. I think Ryan Anderson, he wasn't much, I guess, defensive player, but like you look at stretch fours, stretch fives, or 3-and-D guys. It started in that era when Houston and Golden State started shooting so many more threes, and that's when it became a thing. Um, so yeah, but in San Antonio, when we win, and you look at Miami, they had Mike Miller, James Jones, Ray Allen, all those guys,
Yeah,
that became 3-and-D guys.
Again, no shade to them. No shade to them at
Yeah.
all, because they definitely left them up. I'm talking about guys that were hitting threes, but were also capable of being on all defensive teams as well. That's
That's tough.
that's what
Yeah.
that is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. I'm talking about
As a
like
role
it's
player, there's
now.
not many role players that make those teams, right? Defensive teams, such as Kawhi Leonard, a Draymond Green, Klay
Mhm.
Thompson, and he's more. They're considered super. Those guys are superstar, like they're star players.
Yep.
Drew Holiday, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not considered a role player. Now he's X Factor in Boston. That system with those guys, he is more. But he was considered a big three guy in Milwaukee and other places. He was an all star and superstar.
Yeah.
So yes, it's hard to find just strictly a role player to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey,
and I'm trying to think of
nowadays you
people.
hit threes and play all defensive level defense. You like OG Anunoby getting like $200 million, boy.
Yeah, Derek
Hey,
White. You know what I'm saying? Like Derek
you
White's
was
one of
born
those
a
guys.
little bit too early, my G.
Man,
You
five
would've-
years, right? 5 years a little later. So Derek White, another guy, another San Antonio guy, defensive guy, sets the table, knocks down threes. He's one of those guys that plays that role very well. So
For sure. No, man. You left your mark. I hope you are proud of what you have done. And I will say this, you know, if I, Harrison Sanford,
Mhm.
was NCAA champion, I was a 3-time NBA champion, had one of the best regular season win rates in the history of the NBA, top 20 in 3-point makes. Lord knows I wouldn't be humble. Lord knows I would not be
There's
as
a reason why
gracious.
you're not there.
Yeah.
There's a
Lord
reason why a lot of
knows
my friends don't have money. I know. There's a reason why a lot of my friends aren't in certain positions. They be acting
good
the damn
Lord.
fool.
Yeah, Lord knows I wouldn't be as gracious with my time. And I still like to think I would very much invest in my friends. But I think you are very much still the same person that I've met when you were back at St. Mary's in high school. You just have accomplishments that have gone through it. And the more successful you've been, the more gracious you have been, which is a testament to you. And I think that's why the careers lasted so long, my G. For real. Like if you would have got a big head, your ass would have been up and out of there. They'd have been like, no, he can't dribble anyway. They would have been like, he ain't got no butt. Like, he ain't got no bungees anyway. Get him up out the league.
For sure. And that's probably another part of the frustration for me is because like, I've done everything the right way. Why am I not getting calls? Why am I not? I've always been a great locker room guy. But enough with the negatives, the positive. That's the greatest compliment I've heard given to someone. And I'm glad that people can say that about me. I've heard Pop give Tim Duncan that compliment on the night of his Hall of Fame or his jersey retirement in the arena, the AT&T Arena, which is now called something else, Cross Bank, maybe. He said the greatest compliment he could give, and Timmy's parents I don't think around anymore. If Mr. and Mrs. Duncan was still alive and still standing there, I would tell them they raised a really good son, and that's the same man that walked through that door 20 years ago he is today. And you did a hell of a bang up job, like that type of deal. So that's one of the greatest compliments I think you could give anybody is that they stayed the same of who they were throughout all successes, ups and downs, and failures, and never wavered or changed. So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everybody that's been along for the ride and the journey.
Yeah, no, hey, bro, it's tough. It's tough to say so solid. So, congratulations
It
to
is.
you.
It is. Trust me, it is.
So shout out to you, and obviously, and shout out to everybody who played a part in what has made a fabulous, an absolutely great NBA career. And I will say this though, Danny, the beautiful thing, and this is why stuff like this is so damn cool, is that a lot of what has happened for you has been manifested. I still remember talking to you. I remember telling you, yo, I want to cover the NBA when I grow up, right? And you remember you saying you want to be in the league. And as we've started to get to know each other in our adult years, I knew that you want to be in the media game, and you're manifesting that career. So when you start planting the seeds and you start to see it come to fruition, and you play it out like how you're supposed to, and enjoy the process, it's like, it's so sweet to kind of see it kind of play out this way. And now the media world is your oyster, man. So Now you could do
Yeah,
play by play. You could be in the studio. You could do hey, bro. Hey, your boy needs some bankroll. Now we could bet.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, we could do some.
we could do a
I'm
little something,
excited.
something.
I'm excited for the next chapter, man. And I said I appreciate you as well as everybody else that helped and you pushing me to do this pod, and forcing me, like, really encouraging it because I was really skeptical, but it helped me a ton. It helped me get the reps and build the resume and get into the media field. But yeah, I'm excited for what's next to come. And I'm the type of person I want to try everything and do it and learn everything. Not I have to be great at everything, but I want to learn how to fly, sail a boat, let alone be good at my job. So yeah, I'm
Mhm.
open to trying all these new things around the game and trying to be the best at it because I know the game well. But we have so much more life to live, and a lot of guys don't understand that when you're done with basketball, it's a short part of your life. You don't realize it until it's
Mhm.
over. It's like, damn, I still have a lot of life to left, a lot of life left to live. So what am I going to do with it? How do I make more impacts or be impactful to the next generation or my kids or the kids around me or myself? What are the goals can I make for myself? So yeah, I'm excited, man, for this next journey, this next chapter, and taking the pod to another level, new heights, and taking the media platform to new heights, man. So I appreciate you also getting me into the media game.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. It's been a pleasure, and I appreciate you for taking on any advice that I've given you along this journey as well. So no, it's been really dope. And I'm really excited to see the other stuff that you have going on. For those who are listening or watching, Danny also has a venture capitalist fund. Am I saying that right? A venture
Yes, I think
capital,
that's
a venture
correct, man.
ahead,
I'm
whatever you
learning everything in that
finance
space
guys
as
say.
well. Yeah, the finance guys, I'm still learning everything in that space as well. We do things with high school, the youth, the grassroots. We have the Throne. We do it's a national high school championship for high school. It's a national championship for high schoolers. We've done some battles, some games with high school, AAU teams, things like that. We've done between the lines, prison visits. You see it on my socials. We're trying to have that grow, and a lot of people can make connections with that. So there's so many other things that would
Prison visits where you play basketball with the inmates.
we hoop with them. We get to share their stories. Some of those guys are wrongfully accused. Some of them have made a mistake when they're 17. They had to pay 30, like their whole lives for it, from one mistake. So we share their stories. We give them a day of freedom. We hoop with them, bring in music, have some lunch, sat down, chat with them. And we're doing it in California. Hopefully we can stretch it to other, throughout the nation. But that's been amazing. Shout out to Darren Duncan and Tori Stapleton, those guys that put it together. So I can't take credit for all these things, but a lot of the things I'm dabbling in and having fun with and learning, not just myself, but the people around me, the world, and getting into their not business ventures and things that they're passionate about. So, yeah, man, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, I think before we talk about actual basketball, if we get into some broadcasting things, I will say, again, I've applauded you for really being gracious with your time, remaining humble throughout all the successes, throughout all the on the court financial successes. A lot of people couldn't have been this humble or gracious, but I also think it is to be noted that. And I think it's something that you've shown, and I've tried to carry it on with the people in my life, or even as I introduce new people in my life. You have empowered your friends to live out their visions, and when they put something on the table that makes sense, you ride with them and you support them, and you've been definitely. I thought I was thinking about it today, like when I told you about the new gig I got. Like, damn, you made me feel like it was your victory because you were so happy
Yeah,
for me.
it
And
was super dope, bro.
yeah. So that's the type of energy that you've been on, type of energy that I've been on, and the type of energy I think we all should be on. Root for your people, seeing them win is everybody. What's the rule, Danny? If nobody eats, we all got to eat. Everybody eats. What they say? What's
Yeah,
that cliche
when no
ass
one cares
phrase?
who gets the credit, everybody eats, something like that. You gotta,
Everybody eats.
you
Everybody
celebrate.
eats.
You say everybody's success. You celebrate everybody's success is the same, man.
Yeah, that's for
So,
sure. All right, when we come back, we'll actually talk about
there it
the
is. James got
national.
us. If one of us eats, everybody eats. That's how it goes. Yeah,
One of these, yeah. If one of us eats,
everybody
then all of
eats.
us eats. All right.
Yeah.
With that being said, when we come back from break, we'll get into this actual broadcasting. We'll react to some sound that we heard during media day and much more. And then Danny will also end the episode going to a little bit more of his ventures in the world of retirement. Be right back. This is Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. Be right back. 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, it's actually running a little bit long because Danny and I really had to get into the nitty gritty of all of this retirement decisions and everything that went behind it and do a little flashback into his 14 or 15-year career, depending on how Danny wants to classify. I think it's 15.
Technicality, but I like the 14 number. It's cool. We'll leave it at 14. It's my number. It's an important date for me. I've gotten married on the 14th, but met the wife on the 14th. The 14 is a important number, so we'll just leave it at 14. That's cool with me.
All right. Well, for the 14-year NBA veteran who has now announced his retirement, I am Harrison Sanford. This has been Inside the Green Room. When we come back with our next episode, so make sure you're subscribed, rating, and reviewing. Danny, I think you have full liberty now to get a little bit spicy.
We have.
You don't have to worry about hurting nobody's feelings. You don't have to hurt nobody's. You're not hurting nobody's feelings no more.
We got time now. We got time. Yeah, we can get into some nitty gritty shit on the pod.
I'm not going to
say. Stay tuned for more. We got in a couple of days. We'll give our real opinions. So
yeah, I don't expect you. I don't expect you to become a hot take because everybody's got to stay.
Once a month, we'll get some hot take. Once a month, we don't need.
But now that you ain't going to upset no general managers, you know what I'm saying? You ain't going to upset no coaches. Can't wait. Can't wait. With that being said, it has been a pleasure, y'all. See you next time.
Peace.